Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel, ToucheTashe. I am Tashi and I'm here to go over episodes 3 and 4 of Joseline's Cabaret. I tried to fit it in all in one video, but that was not realistic, so I decided to break it up into 2. So this is episode 3. So here we are. So episode 3 goes into where Lexi Blow gets body slammed by Gaia, and then all the girls come run back outside to see all the commotion and jump her to continue to fight her. But what threw me off, I didn't understand why Gaia was coming at Lexi, because to me it came off like Lexi was trying to get her to, let me go help you get your stuff. So I guess I'm assuming that Gaia thought that Lexi was coming to fight her, which is understandably so because she just got jumped inside. So she's fighting everybody at this point, so she body slams her. So they end up throwing her luggage in the fountain, which I thought was trifling and raggedy by the other girls. And what threw me off, that Amber, who back in episode 1 was talking about she wanted to sleep with Gaia, well, Tungalingus, you know, she threw all her stuff in the pool. I was like, I thought you guys were gonna get married. I thought you were gonna, you know, rub parts later. And I was so confused. I'm like, where all that came from? But remember, they are all drunk and drinking. This part I didn't like. So they went through her stuff and they saw that she had a Bible and a witchcraft book. I forgot what the book was. I tried to look at it really quickly, but I just kept on going with the episode. And they're like, oh, she's doing witchcraft and we don't do none of that around here, blah, blah. I'm like, you guys don't know anything about, I'm not even gonna get into it. You guys don't know nothing about that, either of those books, first of all. But anywho, that's another video. That's a whole nother video. So they just destroyed her stuff. And then Gaia got spooked because these girls were jumping on her, which I thought was pretty corny. And the main girls that were jumping on her, which I thought was left field, was Raven and Black Diamond. I'm like, kind of whack in my book, but whatever. So skip all of that. I think we go to the next day. The next day, the girls, you know, they have those little scenes where they get a couple of girls together and they're sitting and talking about what they're gonna do next and things like that. Because Joseline did mention that she's gonna take them down to the place where they're gonna be doing the cabaret, and then she's gonna put them to work. So Chanel takes it upon herself to say, oh, you know, I hope you guys got, you know, could dance and things like that. Joseline was kind of peeved by that, like, who told you to tell them that they were dancing to learn an 8 count? She's like, I hope y'all know how to learn an 8 count. So they get to the place, they're in their full on, you know, dress wear, to come to find out that they're gonna be cleaning the cabaret and not actually dancing. So Lexi Blow and Chanel were in charge of the girls in cleaning. So of course we already know who had a problem with that. Amber had a problem with it because she felt as though that the girls were not cleaning and the girls were just walking around telling them what to do. But I understand where the girls was coming from, as far as like, oh, like, y'all just think y'all just gonna sit around and just not do nothing. I get it, but what if it was Joseline telling y'all that? You're not going to tell Joseline that y'all not going to do something. But that's just typical human nature. They see somebody that they view as their equal. It's like, oh, why y'all telling me what to do? You're my equal. But technically, they're really not your equal, because if they were equal, they will be down there with you. But I guess I understand, lead by example. You want to clean and clean with them. But I would have probably been telling them what to do too. But I'm built a little different. So I'd have been like, yeah, go clean that. But I felt like Amber was for sure coming for Chanel's spot. She wanted to take Chanel's spot so bad. So I was like, I guess her eyes are zoomed in, laser focused on Chanel now versus her being on Wet Wet. So it just was a nonsensical thing. So before the girls come in, Joseline, Chanel, and Lexi Blow are having a conversation about, oh, why didn't you have Lexi Blow's back in the beginning, from when the girls were confronting her about laughing, and she was like that she wanted to tell the truth. I feel like they should have built a rapport before they got on the show to stick together. I think it would have made things run smoothly with them. But I'm not surprised that Chanel didn't have her back, because they both were kind of wishy-washy from season 2. But I think it was just a lack of communication upon them, because they weren't really rocking like that anyway. It's not like Sapphire and Lucky, like they were like this, you know? Like I feel like these two girls did not build a rapport. And for the show, it's good because it gives a conflict in between those girls, so we have like a sense of a storyline. Because I feel like within the first 2 episodes there wasn't much of a storyline. It was just a bunch of chaos, and it was like, when are we gonna get to something more entertaining besides these girls yelling and screaming and being drunk around each other? Okay, so continuing on, Joseline is at the venue where they're having the cabaret after the girls are cleaning, and she invites a special guest. So this gets all dramatic, of course, because this is towards the end of episode 3, and they say, "You have the guest you request," and it's Gaia. The girls all roll their eyes. So we're into episode 4 now. So Gaia comes back to speak to the girls because Joseline is on the phone. Joseline FaceTimed her in episode 3, mentioning you should come back and confront the girls if you feel like you were wronged or whatever. She didn't want Gaia to leave out like that. So Gaia comes to speak to the girls. They're not really feeling it whatsoever. So Lexi Blows says when she see Gaia is on site. I don't believe she meant that, because if it was on site, she would have got to her if she really wanted to get to her. But she was behind a bunch of security, which is understandable. I still don't think she really meant that. So Gaia says she wants to have a sanctified sacred sister circle. I'm like, you're on the wrong show for that. This is not Sister Circle. This is not Girl Scouts. You guys are in a competition, and I think typically like strip club and dancing and things like that is really cutthroat with the girls. So she says to Joseline that all the girls are afraid of her, and that's how things went down like that. I think she was trying to cover her own ass, but I do think some of the girls are afraid of Joseline, especially when she was pointing down their face that she would fuck you up, fuck you up, fuck you up, fuck you up. I'm pretty sure they, you know, they a little scary of her. So the girls are not really feeling it. They're yelling and screaming of like why she's here, and then they confront her about her witchcraft book, and she says, "Because I'm a witch." And the girls are like, they're not feeling that. They're like, "Oh, we don't really mess with that witchcraft stuff, and we're here to shake ass and things like that." So Gaia starts chanting and conjuring up some, you know, she starts doing all that, and Joseline falls out on the floor. I'm like, Joseline, get your ass up, get up, stop playing with us, stop. And it's like, I want to believe. I'm like, girl, are you serious? Like, are you serious? Do you really? Well, I would imagine, because nobody just carry around books and stuff like that. But I'm not surprised by anything people do on reality television. Who knows? They could have summoned her and found her, and that could have been a part of her stick. And people are into stuff like that. Like, as far as like trying to like make things like eroticize things and make things sexual, and that's like her whole stick. So I'm like, is she gonna be doing this for the whole entire time that she's on this show, child? Because I'm really not interested. So let me get back into my notes here. So I mentioned that she wanted a sacred sister circle. The girls are not really feeling that, and they asked her, can you actually dance? So she gets on the pole and she starts to dance. So she actually has some graceful movements. She's a little sensual and things like that. So what throws everybody off is when she busts like a split. They see her downstairs area and they see that she has a full bush, and they're like, everybody's like startled, like their faces got me. So K Capri looked completely disgusted. She just, her face, like the face they zoomed in on, she looked disgusted. Lexi Blow was over it. She wasn't paying any mind. Amber kind of looked like she wanted to eat her alive and a little bit of disgust at the same time. So it was interesting. So they go off a vote. They don't really want her there. Amber wants her there. She's like, let's just give her a chance. Gaia's not really feeling it. She's like, you know, you guys tried to jump me and I wasn't trying to fight you guys, and you know, trying to show them her little, she said she was a wrestler for 10 years, and her little stance that she was doing because she thought that Lexi Blow was trying to attack her. So she body slammed her. So I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, so I guess that would make sense. So in the midst of that, she walks off. She's like, you know what, I'm out. So Amber goes run after her. Amber's like, you know, I still want to The only reason why she wanted that girl to come back because she wanted to rub crotches together with her. She wanted to, like, what Alexander Roger calls it, bump pocketbooks. Yeah, another channel that I watch, Bump Pocketbooks. That's really, you know, that's the main reason why she wanted her back. But she was trying to give her a pep talk and say, come back. And what I didn't like that Gaia did, she was like, oh, you're coming off really aggressive. And then I'm like, girl, she is not coming off aggressive. Compared to the way she was acting with the other girls, she's not being aggressive with you. And it's something weird about Gaia. Like, she gives me, like, it's not an act. I don't know how to feel about her. Like, she's a really pretty girl, but it's just, she's just all over the place. It's just a ball of mess, like a ball of mess. You don't even know where to begin. It's like a real scratch your head type of, like, girl, are you serious? Like, are you okay? Like, do you have, like, what have you been through in your life that you got all this going on? Like, I didn't understand. So she does her thing on a pole, and K Capri wants to show her out. K Capri's not impressed, so K Capri gets up there and she does her work or whatever. So K Capri can dance. She was doing her dance move. What bothered me, even though I know they were cleaning, she was dancing in sneakers. I was over it. I've seen that before. I went to a go-go bar, like a strip club near my home, and one of the girls had on Jordans, and I was over it. I'm like, this is a slow night? Like, this is your practice night? Like, I was like, girl, I was annoyed. I was like, I'm ready to go. Like, I didn't come here to watch a girl dance in some Jordans. Like, it's nothing appealing about that. It's nothing sexy about that. But the reason why she had on sneakers is because they were cleaning. So I guess she took her shoes off. Nobody wants to scrub floors with 6-inch stilettos, so that's understandable. So you know that I'm jumping back and forth in between the scene, and we saw Gaia dance. No one wanted her back. I guess she was feeling threatened. She walks off. I mentioned that Amber went to go see about her. She got on her knees, begged her to stay, because, you know, Amber wanted that kitty cat. Amber wanted the kitty cat, so she was begging her to stay. She was like, I'd rather be safe than, it's better than safe than sorry. So she just didn't want to go back because she felt like the girls were going to jump her. So she had like a childlike demeanor about her in the corner. It was like weird. Like, she went from like wrestler body slamming chicks, and then she went from like, you guys are gonna jump me, I'm afraid. You said that you weren't gonna let them fight me. So it was a little weird. So I'm like, is something wrong with her? Like, something had to happen. It's a lot of these girls got issues, and it's unfortunate that they're kind of being taken advantage of and a little bit exploited, but they put themselves in this position. So like, hopefully they get to see themselves back on TV and then like go about life differently. But so she's out of here. So after she leaves, we go to another scene after they leave the little club. Amber's talking to HIIII about her outside of the cabaret. She's a chef. I called her stripping chef. And she does catering for seafood. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. Try to get a little bit of this, a little bit of that. She's gonna do a pop-up shop, I guess, I'm assuming, when she leaves the cabaret. So I was like, okay. We're starting to know a few things about Amber. I think she's entertaining for television. It's just like when she zeroes in, she has like a bullying aspect about her, and it gets a little annoying, but I enjoy watching her on the cabaret, believe it or not. So she plans on cooking dinner for the girls. That's something that her and HIIII were speaking on, and they go back to talking about the night before when they were cleaning the venue, and how she was upset because she felt like Chanel was on her high horse bossing them around. And I get it. Like, I rewatched and I was looking at Chanel's demeanor. She has like a little prissy demeanor, whatever. So I guess it wasn't sitting well with the other girls, so that was an issue with her. So it goes to another scene, and it's Chanel and K Capri and them outside talking about them getting ready for the cabaret and the dancing, because Joseline mentioned she's gonna pick the 4 girls the next day. She's gonna give them all a chance to dance. She's not teaching them any choreography, so they have to come up with their own routine. to impress Joseline, she's gonna pick the 4 girls right then and there to do the grand opening of the cabaret. So the girls are shooketh. They're all shooketh. Like, oh, I'm like, well, already in episode 3, but okay, cool. So, cut to another scene. It's Amber, I believe, Chanel, and Riri. They're practicing in one of the rooms in the house. It's like a stripper pole, and they were sitting by a bar. As you know, all they're doing is walking around the house. They don't really have much to do while they're there. So Riri is on the pole. Riri got pole work. Amber doesn't have any pole work, so the girls were teaching her pole work. Joseline comes in with 2 large photos mentioning when they're at the cabaret, the setup, they're going to have photos of them, like they're going to have photos of Joseline. I was like, I hope so, because the Atlanta one, it's like a little setup. It wasn't like grandioso, which is okay. It's her first show, so you start somewhere. So I guess she's planning on having photos of the girls around the venue for the cabaret, and I was like, that sounds nice. And I think it'll be, if she really sticks with it, if it's really just not about reality TV, I think it'll be dope for her to be in that industry and be ahead of her own cabaret or strip club. Why not? Men typically dominate the industry. Why not get a woman to own her own stuff and employ other women? But she gotta chill with that the way she treats them like pimps and hoes type of mentality is like insane. It's insane. So she's like, where's the rest of the girls? Why they're not down here practicing? They're not serious about the cabaret. Like, this is like a thing. Like, she wants the girls to, practice and be serious about it. Chanel ends up coming down, and they talk about how they didn't like how she was delegating during the cleaning at the venue. And I'm like, they still on this? Amber is really gunning for this girl's spot. Like, she's not letting up. She got her foot on her neck. She's not really feeling Chanel. And I'm like, it is what it is at this point. Let's see where it takes us. So later that evening, the girls head over to the venue where they're going to be having the cabaret in a van. So on the way there, Capri is going off because someone is leaking information as things that are going on in the house. So she's like, whatever happens in the house stays in the house, which makes sense because they are filming the show. But come to find out, it probably was wet because they were upset because she's been taking pictures of herself in the house. So I guess they were instructed by production not to take photos, and she was like, why are y'all worrying about what I'm doing? Because if production doesn't check me, why y'all checking me? It's like a wolf pack mentality to me. Like, I feel like a lot of them are paying too closely attention to what she's doing. They're just finding a reason to be mad about something. Like, I don't really be paying people that much mind if it doesn't directly affect me. I don't give a fuck about, I don't really care about what the next person is doing for the most part. So I didn't understand it. So they're going back and forth on the bus, and eventually they tell Wet Wet to get out. So they they're in the cabaret, they're ready to set up to practice for the dancing. So Joseline breaks them up into 4 groups, and they're going to all perform together, and from there she's going to decide who she wants to dance with her on the opening night of Cabaret Las Vegas. So of course, Miss Confident, K Capri, which I'm not mad about, she decides she wants to dance first because Joseline asks who wants to dance first. She nominates herself, and she picks who she wants to dance with. So the girls that she wanted to dance with was Raven and Black Diamond. They were kind of annoyed because they didn't want to go first. They wanted to see how the other girls did so they can go. And I'm like, what does it matter if you go first or last? You still have to give it your all, whether you're first or last, second, middle, third. You have to like dance your heart out. So it doesn't really matter. So what you're going to see what they do so you can do something else. But come to find out, she was in the other scene too, talking about the dancing. She doesn't do pole work either. A lot of the girls are skilled at pole work. She's not skilled at pole work, and it showed. So Raven and Black Diamond were lackluster. Of course, all the girls typically have nice bodies, but they were just shaking their ass and rubbing on their breasts like they were at a hood strip club. And what blew me, Raven was chewing gum. It looked like she was chewing gum because she was going like. So she looked like she was chewing gum, and they looked bored. It was boring. Amber said they looked like some hoes dancing for Drake. Whatever. K Capri was dancing really hard, showing her dance moves, but she didn't have any sex appeal, and I didn't like her outfit. Like, it's not even about having big boobs, big breasts, because she's tall and she doesn't have like a lot of curves, and she has small breasts and, you know, like a regular butt. But it's about how you move and fluidity. Like, you were just dancing like really, really hard, and there's nothing sexy about it. So Joseline didn't like them. So the next group of girls was HIIII, Chanel, Wet Wet, and Jordan. Jordan is one of the blondes girl's names. So Jordan actually knows how to dance. She was doing the pole work. Chanel was moving all a little sexy. Wet Wet came up there with her purse like she was about to do a 15-minute routine. Like she was about to get some ones. So I had to put her purse down. I was like, she's always doing something. I understand them girls are so sick of her. She's always doing something. And HIIII was a little lackluster as well, but collectively as a group, they looked better than the first group. But out of the 4 of them, to me, Chanel and Jordan stood out the most. They had more sex appeal. So the next group, so for the last and final group, I said 4 groups of 4. No, 4 groups. No, it's actually 3 groups. But the last group was Lexi Blow, Riri, that's the other blonde, Lollipop, and Amber. So they got up there and did their thing. We already saw Riri dance like briefly in the earlier scene. Lexi Blow gets up there. Lollipop has sex appeal. Amber was flipping her hair and stuff, looking good. I was like, okay, they all collectively look good together. They were the best ones out of the other groups that went up there. They looked the best all together collectively. I was like, yeah, they're dancing. Like, I was excited to see them dance, especially when Lexi does that little isolation thing. Yeah, but they were like really up on the pole. Lexi and Lollipop look good dancing together. When they had a little, I was like, they look good dancing together. And Lollipop finally actually looked really, really pretty in the scene with her hair. The way her hair is framed, like the way her haircut is framed, and I guess she has like her hairstyle where she could do it universally, but she has her hair out in the top. I think she needed more layers so it could blend better, because when she came in with that little ponytail at the top of her head, that was not it. But this is the best she's looked since she's been on the show. The bang looked pretty with her sandy brown hair. I was like, oh, she looks really, really pretty, really, really pretty. But they did well. So Joseline picked her girls. So she picked Jordan, Riri, Lollipop, Lexi, Chanel, and Amber. So those are the girls that she picked that were gonna do 30 seconds apiece dancing so she could pick her final 4. So she told the girls to go sit it back, the other girls. What's her name? CASHAPP was pissed. CASHAPP was highly upset, and I was like, you were not sexy. Like, you didn't have any sex appeal. She was just focusing on busting dance moves. She wasn't focusing on alluring the crowd and, you know, being sexy. Like, it was nothing about her routine that was sexy, and I was kind of disappointed. Like, I know she could do the handstand and stuff and all that stuff like that, but like, it was nothing sexy about it. I was rooting for her, but her head wasn't in the right space at all in the process. So she was sitting there steaming, fuming. She was highly upset. So the girls go on for their 30 seconds again, and she do their thing. I'm not really sure if they went out for their 30 seconds or they had another dancer, because guess who returns again? Gaia. Gaia returns to do a dance routine, which annoyed the girls because she came and danced the first time. She didn't clean. They didn't like that, and she's coming to dance again. All right. Gaia comes in with a Little House on the Prairie dress, a coat-like dress, like a little house dress or something, all white dress with some holy water. I was like, she's just doing the entire moves. Like, this is her thing. So she comes in, takes off all her clothes. She's playing with her Toto in front of Joseline, and Joseline's like, oh, put on her sunglasses, taking them off, put on her sunglasses, taking them off. So the girl gets up and dances, and it was cringy to watch, because if you're at a show, that's a girl that you want to see. First of all, she has a nice body, very nice, and they said she had a kid. Wow. nice body. It just was really cringy with all the extra stuff that she took out the holy water and drizzled it all over her. I'm like, girl, you could have just did that with regular oil. Like, is this your thing? Is this something that you're promoting to be overtly sexual and to cosplay Jesus? Like, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I just was like, girl, like, why can't you just, like Joseline said, just do the sex appeal, just do the dancing without all the extra stuff? Because this is not what her show is about. You may be able to get that off elsewhere, but not with the burlesque show that Joseline's trying to put on that will throw people off. It was just a lot going on, and she just was like, just in her own little world, not like, oh, but Jesus, and I'm Jesus, and Mary's my mom, and Jesus my husband. She just got a lot going on. I'm like, is this girl all right? It's just a lot going on. So she tells her to go off to the side. And I think that's when the girls dance. But the girl she picked for the Cabaret opening night, she picks Riri, that's one of the blondes, Jordan, that's one of the blondes, Lexi Glow, and she picks Lollipop. So she has Chanel and Amber standing off. And also, I feel like she did this on purpose because, you know, they have like a little friction in a sense. But she picks Amber over Chanel. And Chanel, you know, felt the way because she thought that she wasn't going to be competing because she won last season. And I'm like, technically, you shouldn't have won last season, but you just won off of last season because of how the other girls acted in the process of the show. But it would hit a sore spot. It's like you won last season to not get picked in the next running of the Vegas show. And I feel like high-key Joseline picks on Chanel, and I'm like, that's whack. Because I think Chanel has potential. She needs to stop drinking, clear up her skin. She has a beautiful head of hair. She has a beautiful face, and just work on this area. I know the feeling because like I said, the alcohol kicks your ass. Alcohol kicks your behind. Trust me, I know. Alcohol kicks your behind. You gotta watch the alcohol. Drink water and run. It's the only way to get rid of that. But the alcohol tear you up, child. So the girls in the back are there clapping it up when she picks the girls that she wants to be a part of the opening night of the Cabaret, and someone is back there clapping extremely loud. Whoa! Clapping, and it is Wet, which is getting on K Capri's nerves. K Capri is still fuming because she thought that she should have got picked. I don't know why. Compared to the other girls, you weren't it, and I thought she would have had a chance, but compared to the way the other girls danced, no, you was dancing too hard and it wasn't sexy. So she's taking her frustration out on Wet. So Wet got her breast out again, just doing her thing, playing with the girls, not paying her any mind. You know, like, if you can't fight, you should hush. She ain't backing down for nothing. I don't even know if the girl can't fight or not. She's the smallest one of the girls, so it's like, okay, she's one of the smaller girls. Her and HIIII are kind of smaller set of girls, so it's like, whatever. So K Capri ends up throwing water on Wet, and Wet throws water bottles back at her. So K Capri gets up, they get to tussling. K Capri loses her balance or whatever. I'm like, girl, mind you, typically taller people are really goofy and all over the place, so she falls to the ground. So she shouldn't have you falling to the ground like that. So then it's a whole kerfuffle, and it looks like other girls get into it from compared to the next episode, and I hope not, because it had nothing to do with anybody else. And meanwhile, Joseline's trying to celebrate with the other girls. These girls over here fighting. I just thought it was like, girl, just stop being a sore loser. Ignore her. It's gonna be people that are gonna get on your nerves, but you can't resort to putting your hands on people all the time. Like, grow up. That's how I felt about it. But anything for the Cabaret, right? So that's basically it for episode 4. I think I covered everything. So maybe I'll do 5, 6, and continue on to see how I feel, because I didn't really plan on covering the show because I felt like I was a little behind. But I was like, why not? I got a point of view on it, so it wouldn't hurt to talk about it. But Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Anything that you want me to talk about, you can feel free to reach out to me. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. ToucheTashe is the same thing from Instagram and Twitter. And hope to see you guys soon. Bye.